The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Tolleson Fire Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 40733. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's first start with a few exterior photos, starting around the exterior of the truck, starting first on the driver's side, full view, cab view, midship location. Then we'll move to the body section, move around to the rear of the apparatus, and then around to the passenger side full view, and then body section, midsection next, and then front cab on the passenger side. Let's go ahead and dive in now, just a little bit more detail. First, starting with the front cab area, and we'll start just under the front bumper with 2 open-ended tow hooks. These are 6,000-pound direct pull. On the face of the front bumper, dual air horns on both the passenger and driver side. Unit identifier engine 161. Located directly in the center is where you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. As we move up onto the bumper extension, D handle gains you access into the front bumper storage location. And then as we move to the driver's side on the top is where you'll find your mechanical siren. Let's move to the cab face, where you'll find on the outer edge marker turn indicator light. Just inside that location are your headlights, housing a structure here with low beam on the outside, high beam located on the inside. Directly above that, emergency warning lights forward facing. As we move up to the windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield, and then moving to the outer edge, you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow of the apparatus, incorporated inside the front floodlight is where you'll find your identification lights. There are 5 located within inside this light bar, and then also the forward-facing light bar. Just above that, you'll find your emergency warning light bar located up on the top of the roof. A couple close-ups of the items we just talked about. First, with the bumper extension, you have an additional emergency warning light side-facing. Front discharge, this is going to be just inside the hose storage location on the rear wall, swivel discharge with dry deck material on the base of the floor. As we move down to the inside of the cab section, let's start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock, latch, and also 4 electric window push buttons. These control all 4 cab windows. Also a grab handle located in the very top section. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the space of the operator. We'll start first in the step well, where you'll find your air inlet in the upper left-hand corner. Let's go back up to the floor area, where you'll find on the engine cowling, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacturing, the 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. This plaque also houses the VIN number, fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find a mechanical siren foot pedal at about the left knee of the operator. On the forward section is where you'll find your master battery switch, quarter turn, tech module, and engine transmission ABS diagnostic port. Just below that, you'll find some switches for ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics indicator, and also regen inhibit switch. To the upper portion, you'll find an air horn and also load manager. Let's move to the opposite side of the steering column, where you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions from road to pump, and then also from pump to road on the placard. Just as a reminder, for pump operations when leaving the cab, you'll need 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, illuminating before exiting the cab. As you move further to the right, you'll find your flat mirror and convex mirror control. And let's now move to the dash area. On the left-hand side of the dash, you'll find your four-way flashers, ignition and start switch, small switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency warning lights, headlight switch, and panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. To the right, the OK to engage your high idle indicator and switch. Up to the gauges where you'll find your transmission, oil, def level, and water temp gauges. On the right, volts, fuel, front air, rear air. Located in the center, tachometer and speedometer. Tally information will display regarding your apparatus above and below the tachometer and speedometer, in addition with the display screen directly in the center. Let's take a look just to the right of the operator's position. We'll start first with your Pierce command zone. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. This is a touchscreen and also function button. Please see the owner's manual for more information. As we move down from this location, a few switches for engine brake on and off, setting switch for that engine brake, low, medium, and high, and also a mirror heat. As we move to the right, you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. This is the rear spring brake. Moving to the right, you'll find the Allison transmission pad, digital readout, push button with an informational note to pump in drive, and also caution to disengage the retarder. As we move to the right, you'll find your heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Further to the right, 12-volt access via barrel-style USB and also a siren brake. Up in the very front of the dash, you'll find this red and white candy cane style label indicating spare wiring. As we move up, you'll find your yellow tag indicating 10 feet 5 inches for height, length 33 feet 5 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 48,000 pounds. Moving to the right, Emergency Master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. When any of these switches have been activated, the light will illuminate green, indicating that the action is on. Moving further to the right, additional switch panel, we have front flood, driver scene, passenger scene, rear scene, high beam flash, and a siren brake for your mechanical siren. Once again, when the light has been activated, the switch light will illuminate. Let's move further to the right in the same preview, where you'll find your traffic advisor. Further to the right, you'll find your Whelen siren control for your electronic siren and PA speaker system. Moving to the roof area, you'll find this light illuminating if you have your apparatus doors open or compartment open. Do not move your apparatus. As you move up to the very top of the ceiling, this is your air conditioning vents. Quick view to the rear where you'll find an EMS compartment, 2 forward-facing seats, and 2 rear-facing seats. Directly behind the driver's seat is where you'll find shoreline power. When plugged into this, your battery charger will maintain. When plugged into shoreline battery, your battery voltage indicator will also display in the window. This is the shoreline inlet. It is a 20 amp auto eject plug. Goodyear tire Alcoa wheel, visual sight gauge into the center of the axle. As we move now into the rear crew cab at the hinge point, you'll find a red grab handle for gaining access. In addition, on the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock, latch, window control, and a grab handle. Overhead, push on and off red or white lens lights, air conditioning unit. These are the 2 rear-facing seats. They do house SCBAs. Directly in the center section is where you'll find your EMS compartment. There are adjustable shelves in this space, also LED lighting. Also within this compartment, you have 12-volt access via a bus bar and also shoreline outlet. When plugged into shoreline power, the red outlet will become active. At the rear of the engine, you'll find your daily checks for oil and transmission dipsticks. Moving now behind the officer seat, you'll find an additional 12-volt bus bar. To the exterior, you'll find the 7.3 US gallon DEF tank. It is the blue cap. And now as we're into the pump panel area, let's start at the very top section with our crosslays. There are 3 located here, crosslay 1, crosslay 2, and a 2.5 inch crosslay. Let's start with the pump panel, first in the gray module with your master intake and master discharge gauges. In between the 2 of those, test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure, currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move down, we have your valves clustered. Starting up at the top, we have crosslay 1, crosslay 2, and the 2.5 inch. Also just to the right, the deluge discharge. Further to the right, we have a switch for your panel lights on the pump panel. Let's move down to the next row where you'll find the front discharge. Also moving just to the right, large diameter discharges. We have the number 2 and number 1 2.5 inch discharge. And then also your large diameter discharge on the passenger side in the green. Let's move just to the right of this location and back up toward the top where you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Right next to that, you'll find a round speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate, allowing you to increase or decrease sound. At the very top of the switch panel, you'll find an indicator OK to pump, meaning that you've engaged everything properly in the cab. Also some additional switches and a red air horn switch. Water level indicator down in the lower portion. Reel discharge. Moving just to the right, you'll find your engine cooler. This is a twist and not a pull. Moving further down, some warning placard information regarding warning, entanglement hazard. Because of those cross lays, there's a possibility of entanglement. As we move further to the right, an additional warning regarding fall injury. Always face the vehicle while climbing on or off. Just below that, you'll find the tank fill and recirculating line. And as we move down to the very bottom, you'll find the driver rear discharge. That's a 2.5 inch. And then also right next to it is the tank to pump. And then your push to prime, air prime. For best practices when drafting, utilize at least 1,000 RPM. Let's move down to the next panel down on the pump panel area. First with the number 1 driver's side 2.5 inch discharge. Also a warning placard here regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Moving to the left, a warning that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. To the right, driver's side auxiliary inlet. Moving further to the American flag Eagle, large diameter pump inlet. Just moving to the right, you find the manual pump shift, and further to the right, the main or main pump drain. Let's move down to the very bottom where we'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Moving just slightly up from this location and to the right is where you'll find the driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5 inch female inlet, locally controlled via the ball valve, along with a wattress placard indicating just to the right-hand side. We'll go over the wattress placard here next. First, let's start with the pump model, which happens to be a CSU, trans model C22D, and then also capacity 1,500 GPM. Minimum operation maintenance schedule located here for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. The associated GPMs located on the left. On the right-hand side, the associated RPM. While in pump mode, the governed speed, 20-30 RPMs. As we look down into the stepwell area at the running board, you'll find a tubbed storage location for hose, dry deck material. Moving now into the body, adjustable shelf, LED lighting, pull-out tray. The release mechanism when this tray is pulled out, it will lock into position, is located on the right-hand side. As we move to the over wheel compartment, an adjustable shelf in the upper portion, SCBA bottle storage in front of the rear axle. There are 3 located here with retaining straps. As we move to the wheel itself, Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel. Let's move back up to the SCBA bottle storage to the rear of the axle for 2 SCBA bottles with retaining straps along with your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. It is the silver cap. As we move just to the rear compartment, adjustable shelf, LED lighting, a pull-out tray, also a pass-through compartment. Release mechanism, once again, located on the lower right-hand side. Let's take a look at all compartments open. This is the driver's side of the vehicle. And now let's move to the rear of the apparatus. Let's start first in the left side of the image just above the brake lights, where we'll find at the very top the hose bed lights and rear scene lights in these cupped switches. Moving to the right of this location, you'll find a recessed backup camera, also a 2.5 inch rear discharge, and then fold down steps and grab handle. Let's move toward the center section here, where you're going to find ladder storage. We have a 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof, 10-foot attic, and then 2 pike poles stored in the upper portion. Additional storage for drafting tubes. To the right, you'll find a warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. At the rear, we have a 2.5 inch direct tank fill. Just down in the lower portion, roll-up compartment door. Once again, pass through from left to right side. At the very top, we have a traffic advisor, emergency warning lights, and rear scene lights. As we move around to the passenger side, adjustable shelf, and then also a pull-out tray. Once again, the release is locking on the right-hand side. Let's move to the over wheel compartment, where you'll find an adjustable shelf. As we move downward, you'll find SCBA bottle storage. This has 3 bottles to the rear of the axle with retaining straps. As we move to the axle itself and wheel, you'll find Goodyear tire and Alcoa wheel. Moving back forward on this location, you'll find 3 SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining straps. In the same vicinity, just in front of the rear axle, is where you'll find your diesel exhaust pipe. Also, a warning placard here indicating extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. These do exist, especially during regen operation. Please be cautious where you choose to park your vehicle. As we move forward to this location, adjustable shelf, pull-out tray in the lower section. Same thing, locking mechanism on the lower right-hand side of that tray. Let's move to the midship section. Same configuration in the crosslay area. There are 3 as the passenger and driver side. Netting here for protecting that hose. Crosslay 1 and 2 and a 2.5. On the pump panel itself, we have a warning here regarding fall hazard. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Also a warning regarding entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. Also a warning regarding pressure hazard. Once again, caps may be under pressure. To the right, we have a reel rewind switch, and then right next to that is the cab lift module. Instructions to raise and lower. In addition, we have caution and danger information because of the movement of that cab. Down the lower section, large diameter pump inlet. This in the green is indicating large diameter discharge, and then to the front, the orange 2.5-inch discharge. As we move to the bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the running board section, you'll find a tubbed storage location. This image is indicating the primer drain. Dry deck material in the lower section, Velcro tie down. As we move to the rear cab section, let's go ahead and start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock, latch, electric window control, and grab handle. As we look inside the cab, you'll find push on and off white or red lens lights, our air conditioning at ceiling level, and then also 2 rear-facing SCBA seats, in addition with the lift and turn latch in the center to gain access to the daily checks for your oil and transmission. Front axle, where you'll find visual sight gauge indicator into the center of that axle, Alcoa wheel, and Goodyear tire. Moving now into the officer space. Let's first start with the door panel. Safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, electric window control, and a grab handle. As we move into this space, you'll find at the very top a lanyard for your air horn, push on and off red and white lens lights, and then also at the floor level, you'll find your mechanical siren foot pedal. As we sit in the front seat facing forward, you'll find the supplemental restraint system. This is an airbag in the bolster. Also a warning here regarding the occupant of mounting any equipment within this area. As we move to the A-pillar, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Let's go ahead and move up to the very top section where you'll find a few plugs located here or blank panels for additional equipment mounting. As we move to the exterior, all compartment doors are in the open position. Let's go ahead and go up onto the roof area, first starting with the cab roof. Unit identifier E161. This is a non-walking surface. We identify that with these 2 warning placards both on the right and left side of the cab. As we move to the dunnage area, this is where you'll find your booster line, master stream device, and then just behind that or forward of that, you'll find your crosslays. Free tension spool and also manual rewind on the booster reel. As we move to the dunnage area, front section and rear, let's move to the rear first where you'll find your top fill location for your water tank. As we move to the rear section, front section, you'll find your foam tank A fill location. Warning, do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Also on each side, you'll find storage. These are your hatch compartments, 2 forward and 2 rear. They do have dry deck material and also LED lighting inside each of those compartments. Let's move to the hose bed area, where you'll find two hose bed dividers. These are adjustable. And now with the cab tilted, we'll have access to the engine and also to the undercarriage. Let's start first at the very front. Those are those front open tow hooks, 6,000 pound direct pull. As we move now from this location, we're into the driver's area. This is the front steering box. As we move into the engine section on the frame rail, when the cab has been fully tilted, please insert this safety bar. Once the bar has been placed into position, do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure on both left and right cylinders. As we move from this location, you'll find the VIN number stamped on the frame. Your vehicle is equipped with a TAC4 independent front suspension. At the very top, you'll find the fill location and sight gauge for your radiator, overflow for your radiator. This should not be filled from this location. Also, you'll find power steering visual indicator, and then also your oil dipstick is yellow, and then transmission is going to be in the red color, and that is a dipstick also. Different angle from the TAC4 suspension. As we move now to the frame rail where the battery box is located, the next image will show your jumper studs for positive and negative right next to the fill location for your DEF tank. There'll be no additional audio from this point forward. This will conclude the additional chassis photos. Congratulations on your new fire apparatus, job number 40733. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire Equipment sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.